Very nice. What was it? I thought it was something, and then I thought it was something else.
What do you think it was?
It's the name of it is escaping me. I can only think of the melody.
Well, you were right. That was it. That was the one. It's fan favorite Billy Joel.
Ah, Billy once again visits.
Billy.
It's like a shark. A slightly new same mic stand. So things must be adjusted.
We're working. So you got me to get one of these screen guards, and now you don't have yours.
Well, mine's on the other mic that's over here. I'll bring it over here into the picture. There is its cousin. This one, I don't feel the need to guard my pop on this one with a pop guard, but I could just be ignoring the obvious popping that's happening.
No, you're right. I wonder if I am guarding against popping that doesn't even happen.
But I think I have the same model mic that my pop guard is on that you have. This is good. This is a good show right here.
TV. Good TV.
Yeah. How are you?
How am I? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I like the look. You look like kind of like a rocker.
A rocker. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like your long hair, your beard. It's like a nice thing, and your shirt, the black shirt with the right amount of neck line. It's you look like.
This is a full-on style consult. I like it. And it's all positive, which I really like.
Let me choose a few things to criticize now.
If I'm really, if you're not getting your money's worth unless I give you 6 things to work on, 4 of which are completely out of reach.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. It's a very jaunty look. I've placed my coffee too far away. Oh God, good Lord.
Oh my God. So what? So tell me, that's a good coffee mug. It's both 70s and today.
Yeah, it's off one of those sites where artists make designs, and you can buy different things with artists' designs. There's a lot of plurals in there that were difficult. Society 6, I might as well say it.
Hey, Society 6, that's cool. So Society 6 sells. You just go there and you see a bunch of cool art. And
the artists will make artists make the art, the pattern, whatever it is, and Society 6 will slap it on whatever piece of crap that you want it on, a mug or a T-shirt or
that's
poster.
their sales pitch.
Yeah,
make whatever you want to make, whatever crap you want. We'll slap it on whatever crap somebody wants.
Yeah,
and then we'll each take a cut.
I don't know anything about the percentages, whether people are happy with them and whether this is a good thing or not. But
Katrina uses Redbubble.
Oh, okay. Same idea.
She puts up her. That's why we have things like this. This is a pillow.
So cool.
That is a Katrina art. We got like 4 pillows around.
I'm glad to know about this. I want
she's got
Katrina
a bunch of art there. You can get her pillows, mugs.
Can you just search for Katrina Ross on Redbubble?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do it.
Do it, people of the world. It's great stuff, and it's got variation to it. It's not all just gorillas in the headlights.
Oh, but I love gorillas in the headlights. That's
her genre.
It's no surprise that you chose that as your pillow design. I mean, it is a cool thing in a way, because if it's one thing to be able to make the gorilla in the headlights and make it look cool, and that's a whole skill in and of itself. But then if you're like, God, I really wish we had a pillow of this, where would you even start?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and it's an extension of the artistic process when you have a design, if you have an illustration or something like that, and then you can just in the computers. You can see what does this kind of look like on a T-shirt or on a pillow or on a mug, and it does it with the computers, with the magic of digitalness, and so I feel like Katrina can see, because she doesn't offer every single thing for every single piece of art. It's actually not a slap it on whatever. It's just sort of like, oh, this is a good looking pillow. This is a good looking this, that.
I see.
And so, yeah, it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
This actually reminds me of the subject that is hot on my mind, which
Go for
is
it.
worthwhileness.
Yeah.
The doing stuff, and how worthwhile is doing stuff. And a lot of times, I think there's this idea that the most worthwhile thing that we can do, we're taught, is to get a good job where you get paid good money. But if we could detangle this idea of, because money is a means to an end. You get the money so that you can do something else, and what you're doing for the money may be doing something that's great service to people, and it may be something that actually doesn't really help people. It's just somehow you figured out a way to scheme it so that you're able to make money and not provide a lot of value. And and so to me, like the person who made that mug that you did, and people who do
Make gorilla
arts,
pillows. Yeah.
gorilla pillows, like this is a good use of human time, and it's barely compensated. Artists just in the scheme of things, just get nothing for really heartfelt work that ends up being meaningful to people. And then on the other hand, you have people who are just all day thinking about cryptocurrency, and it's not really doing any. It maybe makes them money, maybe loses them money, but it doesn't actually add any beauty to the world, or truth, or food, or shelter, or protection, or anything that we actually need. And so I don't know, maybe there's nothing to talk about there, but it just it just the idea of the worthwhileness of being creative seems to me so important, while so many things that people get paid for are of questionable tangible value
Yeah.
to people other than their ability to make money doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. I think about this worthwhileness question a lot, and I've been watching back of this video of that shoot I did interviewing artists, and I kept, and then I would periodically I would reflect on something, and I kept reflecting on this idea of like, why do people do this, and is it worth it, and and it's beauty, and of course it's worth it, and I was having these sort of epiphanies. But watching back, I'm thinking, I wonder if that's something that everybody's wondering, or if people are like, yeah, of course it's worthwhile. Yeah, poetry, it's beautiful. Yeah, art, painting. Yeah. And so I was trying to wonder, yeah, like what is exactly, why am I, and maybe you and I whip each other into this frenzy of like trying to prove why it's worth it, and no one else is asking that question. Or maybe it's just like all artists are doing that, of just like trying to defend their own right to do it, their own instinct that they should do it. I don't quite know.
Well, so I've been sort of into Abraham Maslow, and he thinks a lot about what people need, and ultimately, when we get our basic needs met, what he's saying is that we have this need to self-actualize, but self-actualization sounds very very
Foofy.
selfish, very sort of like me, like I'm doing it for me. But actually, what self-actualization does is it ultimately gives back to people. Like when a great artist does something amazing, if they've really worked on it and they've really sort of like gotten to the point where it's really the ultimate stuff, the ultimate expression of what they're trying to do, it's a real gift back. And so the implication is that what we want, what we need to do ultimately is flower in a way that becomes very generous to other people, and that becomes, so much of what makes life worth living is that stuff.
Well,
So
I wonder though,
ahead.
like it does feel like you and I feel the need to defend that quite often. And I
No one else.
wonder if we do need to, or if that is that a normal thing for creative people. They're always feeling like you have to defend
It's
it, or is
because
it
it's
as you
so
get
hard.
older, maybe as you get older, you have a family of kids and you feel this pressure of like you should be acting your age or whatever, and then you feel the need to defend
Yeah.
it. Like what is that? Like why? It does
Well,
feel
It's
I mean,
because it's so hard to do it. It's because you get on a creative train and you're inspired, and then you have to sort of cut it short because of things that are supposedly more important. But then when you look at what they actually are, you think, is this as much of a ultimately will the world miss like if there's a choose your own adventure, and one adventure is you keep creating the thing and you work on it until it's just right, or you do this thing that you had to do. Yes, you had to do it because you wouldn't survive without it, whatever, because you'd lose your paycheck. But ultimately, the thing that you made would be something that would resonate through the people that you know, and maybe be a greater, more feeling a bit more important as a gift than the thing that you gave it up for.
mhm.
So I think it makes. I think that's what we're. I mean, is that maybe what we're having a frenzy about? It's just like, come on, let me do. This is important. So if it's important, why can't we do it more?
Yeah, but I guess what I wonder is anyone trying to not let us do it? Or is this like we're battling ourselves, we're battling our own psyche or whatever pressures have built up over time to sort of say, act your age, or that's foolishness. And I like your point. Like, it's so much less foolishness than things that are sort of industry that no one would question. Oh, I had to work late, oh, I'm working really hard at this finance job. And no one would really question that. But stepping back, you'd be like, that's doing less for the world than painting a beautiful painting. Or I don't know, maybe someone would disagree with that. But yeah, I just don't know. Like, I don't know if everyone has this where they're always trying to like justify, see, it is worthwhile. Art is worthwhile. Or if most people are like, yeah, art's worthwhile. Why do you keep insisting?
Yeah, I guess I've known a lot of people who would have been great artists if they could have stuck with it, but they had to give it up for more practical things, and I
Well, isn't
think
that
that
most people?
humanity is suffers for it.
It's not like most kids grow up being like, I can't wait to get my hands on the spreadsheet. I think most, it's like almost everyone would be like, yes, painting or working with clay. But I, I don't know. This is getting too abstract. But you couldn't have 90% of the world doing art and no one doing
No one
agriculture.
doing well agriculture, right? Well, this is why my whole project. I mean, this is part of what I mean. You brought up agriculture because that really is the thing that more than anything else requires a lot of work, and that and we need it a lot. Like you can build a house once and fix it occasionally, but you need food every day, a good amount of food, and
And
and this is
Gruyere specifically.
certain, yeah, and so yeah, and so ultimately having
I
made
can
that, and
see
this is
you. I can see you
my
holding
time.
yourself back from the precipice of diving into this. To the,
I
it's
know,
like
I know.
it's like, and so how far do I
Well,
go?
I got the website, by the way. Did I tell you I
Nice.
more local food
Dot
dot
which
com
dot com
is mine,
as it should
and I
be.
also have .org.
Yes. Well done.
So yeah,
So it's all over, but the shouting. It's as good
but
as accomplished.
but this is, I mean, just imagine for a second. Imagine for a second if the cultural norm was that more of your food was locally produced. You can a lot of people, if most people are somehow involved in making food directly, it doesn't take it's not a full-time job for anybody.
I see.
It's a
So you could,
fraction of everybody's time, so that ultimately what happens is that that frees you up so that you can
yeah.
do what you want
So you could
thereafter.
paint and sing and grow food. Yeah.
This was the dream of many people in the past. It's not like a new idea, but it seems out of reach now, mostly because I think, mostly because we've completely outsourced our food production to, and that causes all kinds of problems, which everybody knows about. And that's why I love about the website.
Yeah.
That's why what I'm doing about it is buying a website. That's worthwhile.
Well, what do you, so in the more local food universe, are people vegetarian? Like, are people ever
No, not
growing?
necessarily, not necessarily. But a lot of times people become vegetarian because of the industrial
Yeah,
livestock industry, which is terrible. And small scale livestock
less
is
terrible.
less terrible in many ways.
Yeah, but someone has to step up to do that in your community.
Well, these are there's lots of really good questions around this, but these are questions that were all solved 200 years ago, going back to infinity. So like people knew how to feed themselves, and there's problems to be solved. But
Yeah,
the idea of this project is getting more people involved and getting started with something. And yes, it might start with vegetables or chickens. One of the best
mm.
caloric things you can do is eat eggs
Mm-hmm.
that come from chickens. Even raising chickens for slaughter is not as good. It's not as much of a return on investment as eggs, because a lot of eggs, and they're good
Yeah, man,
nutrition.
you got to do this project. Let's get this going, because I already know several people just as you're talking that I'm like, I want to connect you with so and so and so and so and so and so. That the appetite is there, man. Why are we
There's a lot
wasting
of
our time
appetite.
doing
Whenever I talk
this?
to people, there's yeah, and but this aspect of it, talking about it, and what it what I'm trying to do is make it into a community organizing project around gardening, basically, so that people are less. And actually, the real idea is paying expert gardeners, like small scale gardeners, to go around and help people all the time, to just be like, because people who are getting started, especially, there's just all kinds of problems, and you can only YouTube solutions so much.
Yeah,
And so if you actually have people checking on all the people who signed up for free, because there is this kind of garden consulting that's really expensive. But if you recognize the value to the community of having just like streets that just, you have apples and raspberries just down this street and that street and this street and that street, and then it's just bountiful. And people organizing around where, not everybody's has the best lawn for tomatoes, not everybody has the best place for corn, whatever, but let's think of it holistically. Let's say, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. And then another big part of it is getting together to eat a lot of it and solve these other problems. Like, how can we, wheat is a big challenge. How could we as a town do this? It seems out of reach now, but if you really start getting people together and thinking about it, all these problems have been solved hundreds and thousands of times before. And I think of it as apocalypse prevention. It's like there's nothing that will make a community more resilient than having just bounteous food. And then if the world falls apart, it's like at least you're at least you're eating. And
mm-hmm.
if you have this community connection, then you start to recognize that most of the other things were a distant lower priority to food and community. So, and yet, when you think about like art again, when I think of like Eastern European communism, and you think of these big gray brick buildings, it's just like thinking, well, you have to be utilitarian. If we're going to share the labor, we've got to just be cold and boring people. That doesn't work either. We are wonderful, colorful, thoughtful people, and we need to build in lots of time for people to get together and do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm boring myself.
Where do you get butter?
Yeah, cheese too. Yeah. Cows, that's a whole different situation, and I'm not. I claim no expertise. If a town like Beacon, for example, if we'd ever go to cows,
Right.
maybe.
Well, it's cool, man. And even if you don't have the whole system
Right.
figured out in
Exactly.
your town, making progress Yeah.
A little bit's better than nothing. And then the idea, that's the whole idea with more local food, is that it's always just about more. We're not about saying, how do we have the answers to all of the questions, even though probably a lot of the answers are out there. There's so many people doing brilliant stuff. But if we just set as a goal, we're going to do more this year than we did last year, then we're just that much more prepared and experienced if there is ever some sort of shock to the international food supply system, then
Yeah.
you could ramp it up from there versus from a lower place.
Yeah. There it is. I think we've done it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
cool.
so
You should, yeah, Godspeed on that. It's so cool. And I'm interested to see what it turns out to be. Go to morelocalfood.com. That's more local food.
I haven't put up the website yet. I just got it.
Right now, it just has an under construction little animated GIF. GIF?
Yeah.
GIF? I just read an article where the founder of the GIF or GIF format was like, it's GIF, but I can't remember which it was.
I think it's funny that people defend such things. Why can't it be both?
Why can't it be both?
Why can't it?
And broadcast, right?
GIF. This is called a GIF.
Yeah. And on that, suckers.
All right. Suckers.